Alright, let's try that. Are you able to hear me now? Greg. There we go. Alright, apparently I needed to unmute a camera of some sort. So, as I said, you guys missed a whole bunch of very intelligent commentary, but this is Rops versus Obi Muning, and I'm going into this thinking I need to probably beat him out of characters. I know I can't set up a bunch of drains on the ground. I'm going to need to go after him, so I throw out the Cantina from hand. Looks like I activated the farm, but I'll go get Mos Eisley. All my Lukes are in there. Looks like Wedge is in my deck, or in my force pile, which is good, because I don't think I'm deploying anything this turn. Like, I didn't really get anything to deploy, unfortunately. So we're throw out Mos Eisley and draw a few, because I can't really do anything else in there. I draw into Wedge, Leia Rebel Princess, who's always nice. There's Obi's Hut, and Return of the Jedi, which would be more impactful if I hadn't just drawn into Obi's Hut, but I knew Obi's Hut is in there. Where's Han? So I can go get Han, Chewie, and the Falcon. And I think that puts me right about 14. Almost 14, so I think I'll draw one more here. And stop there. I've got the Harvest. I've got Owen and Beru for potential funsies. Tom activates 16. Like, we know he gets to do a whole lot this turn or next, whenever he wants to start setting up. But he's got a bunch of cards in hand and a whole bunch of force. So we'll see what he does here. Throws out another Holotheatre site, no big surprise. Like I said, I know what I'm looking at here is I'm going to need to grind him out of characters. I think we probably have a fairly similar character count in the deck. And his guys all draw Destiny, my guys all draw Destiny. I can't get into battles where he's trading one guy for 3 or more of mine. I need to make sure that if a battle happens, we're both clearing the site, and it's both just 1 or 2 guys. Like, I can't let him kill off my guys without taking his guys in return. So activate 14. I actually got a full hand here, but I don't know. I'm still missing some of my pieces. Like, I don't have a Luke. I don't have some of the stuff. I know the farm is buried in my force pile because I didn't draw into it last turn when I drew my 14. So we're going to start cycling a little bit here. We got 3PO going down. We're just going to 3PO that Harvest down because I'm not going to use that right now. There's an R2 in Red 5, which is cute, but also not something I need right off the top of the bat. Commander Nara, who I can drop him down and draw a card. And he's a fun little attack guy, but there's no value in throwing him down right away. I don't love playing Leia, and I'm doing a lot of staring at my hand and going, why do I have to do this? So I really would like Leia to be able to go after Holotheatre, also to cancel a drain later potentially, but I've got to have her. So I go get Luke, decide I'm at least going to start and threaten Cantina Shuffle, drain, and pound a little bit of damage that way. I've got the Run Luke Run in hand, which I'm sure Tom expects, but at the same time, I might as well continue to use. And I go grab the X-Wing cannon here because that's actually my plan for space. I wanted to force him to come to space, then I'm going to go and shoot him down in space and keep that cannon going to hold a battleground system. You know, Tom's Nines deck is really good in part because it does a lot of chicanery with getting rid of guys as I leave the Rebel leadership right on top because I'm just going to draw one and grab it, and it'll work with Radis if I need to. Tom's deck is really nasty at its core when it runs a lot of character removal and it runs the chokes and the force lightnings, etc. And being able to do that back to him up in space at least guarantees me getting around battle order, which I like. And here Tom played Voyeur, and I didn't grab it. And I wish I would have. He called Return of a Jedi and missed, which, I mean, it was the right call. That's a card I certainly am running 2 or 3 copies of. And I came real close to grabbing that Voyeur, but it's Tom, and unfortunately, if I grab Voyeur, he's just going to abuse something else. And I know it's going to happen, so I decided I'm willing to let the Voyeur go for the moment. And we'll just 3PO down. There's another one of those Return of the Jedis Tom was looking for. So peek at my card again. It's a Run Luke Run. We're just going to leave that there because I'm probably going to be grabbing something at some point. I've got one Run Luke Run in hand. I don't have Rey out or a way to pull her right now, so I'm not in a burning rush to go try and fetch her. So there's Tom force pushing to get a whole bunch of cards going. I mean, he's got 28 cards in his force pile right now, so he's getting whatever he wants, which is fine. That's, you know, I'm expecting he's going to flip this turn. And if he does, he does. You know, then I potentially don't drain, and that's fine. I'm still comfortable with my hand and with my setup right now. So there's Palpatine Foreseer. I think he uses him. Oh, no, throws down Janice first so he can start doing his tracking shenaniganery. And Janice is a guy who I need to kill, but I need a way to get at him. And unfortunately, the only weapon I've got in the deck is Luke's Saber, and it's sitting at Mos Eisley right now. Like I said, I didn't feel great about putting Leia at the Cantina, but I didn't really want to just not do anything that turn because I was already at 14 cards. I can't draw, and I didn't have anything I could do with my hand. So Tom drops down a sister and a brother, gets himself a flip, so my drains are going to be -1, which is fine. That's, you know, it is what it is. I knew that was going to be there. I've still got drains of 1 and 1 at Tatooine right now. As he throws down Zuckuss and Mist Hunter to reactivate You Can't Hide Forever, but he doesn't have the 9's effect in there right now. And I don't know what he grabbed with the Force Push. I feel like it wouldn't have been the 9's effect. I'm sure it was a character. But he does a little spread out on Tatooine, or on Holotheatre a little bit. Moves Janice away from the Emperor, so he's not getting the Force Drain bonus, but he gets the Emperor to the Prefect's office, get the deploy bonus, or the power and forfeit bonus, and drops battle order. So I'm activating 16, but I have to pay if I want to drain, and I don't know that I want to right now. So I got to do something, but I'm just not quite sure what. I know I'm going to drop Luke, or drop Wedge on Zuckuss and just try and go slow. So now he Emperor Foreseers to peek at top 3 cards, make 1 lost, put 1 in used, and take 1 into hand. So that was I think he only did this once or twice during the game, as he loses a character, which I'm actually happy with, because as I said, my plan for winning this game was to go after his characters. I need to grind out his characters with mine to have any chance here. I can't let him set up. I can't let him battle into me and make those obnoxious. So Hera is sitting on top of the force pile. Again, I don't have a way to go get her right now, and I don't really want to do anything with her. So I'm just going to let her sit on top of the force pile for a minute. So, sitting here trying to decide what I want to do. If I wanted to 3PO, if I wanted to drain. Decided not to drain. I didn't want to pay for it. I've got a bunch of force, but I'm going to be using a bunch of it this turn, and I need to save 3 of it for next turn. So I go Wedge in Red Squadron 1 at Iradu. I've got the barrier canceller in hand. You see the Bith shuffle, which I hate not being able to shuffle his reserve, but I've got to do that. I'm grabbing barrier because he still had a force saved, and Tom does like to run more than one barrier, and I need this battle to go through. You know, I can't... If he's got more space, I don't want him dropping a second ship on Wedge with a 7 or 9 and blowing me up. That's what I can't have occur. So I'm going to wipe out a couple guys with Battle Destiny. So throw down Commander Nara, use him to draw a card because he's a Red or Rogue Squadron guy, and really wish I would have left that 7 on top, but it happens. And we'll throw Owen and Baru in front of Janice because they don't deploy +1 at the docking bay. And there's the immediate code clearance, which is the other part of why I didn't worry too much about the Harvest. Harvest is cute. It's not super impactful, and you know it's coming when it comes. So throw the X-Wing cannons on Wedge. And let's see what we can make happen here. So start a battle at Iradu. I know I don't have any zeros in the deck, so I know I'm hitting with the X-Wing cannons. We'll just add 3 and take a shot here. And boom goes the dynamite. The one is enough. Don't need to bother adding with I can't believe he's gone. Could have activated with it. I guess didn't feel like I needed it. Shuts back down his mob points combo though for a little while, which is good because it's just slowing the deck down. He loses the 9s. Yeah, they're still 7s. I mean, they're still good, but 9 is better. And we'll use Obi to add 3 to my power here. Just so if he draws, I'm not taking overflow. Oh, decided actually not to. I'm not taking overflow there no matter what. I know I'm going to be able to add 1 to the Destiny if I don't crack his immunity. 3 cracks his immunity, but I'm going to add 1 just in case. So I'm going to get rid of Janice, slow down some of his tracking and shenanigans. Again, he draws the Gick for Destiny, which is fine. It's, you know, can't really do anything about it. This is just going to wipe this site. Unfortunately, I couldn't flip him back this turn. There was no way I could deploy enough stuff to flip him. So I'm going to deal with a, drain -1 for a turn. I'm going to throw out aim high in case he starts getting spicy with retrieval somewhere. And we'll start a battle with Nara against the brother. Here I am going to add 3 to my power. Just because Nara's forfeit isn't great. So I need to at least be even in power before we get to the Battle Destiny phase. And activating 1 here because the brother has no immunity. So all I need to do is draw. Because again, I know it's not a 0. The only 0 left in my deck is still sitting in my force pile. So draw my Battle Destiny. There's a 5, so I'm probably not taking overflow here, which is all I'd really be concerned about, is if I had drawn low and he draws a 7, I could potentially lose a couple force, but again, grinding him out of characters is what's important. So he draws a 4 for Destiny, which is first strike, and here I'm sure he's going to swap an Imperial to get Janus back. Yep, swaps Emperor Palpatine, the Emperor Force here to get Janus back, because Janus is important to this deck, but it's forcing him to lose characters, forcing him to grind out those guys. And he's got to pay to drain next turn, which is good. So, like I said, could not flip him that turn, basically no matter what. So, which is fine. I really need a couple cards here to have something to do, but also, like, I'm a little bit okay with where I'm at right now. I don't love it. I'd really like to be... I'd like to have a couple more characters or something in hand. Like right now I've just got Padme and Radis, which doesn't feel great, but there's Corrin. Alright. And we can draw one more, because I can always activate one with I can't believe he's gone. And then shooty shoot. Because I'm not grabbing anything. But I'm just trying to decide what I want to do. And there's his Voyeur, which, because I don't have another grabber, means I'm not getting anything. He named Return of a Jedi and again missed. And I mean, 20 of my 30 down cards are in my used pile. Return of a Jedi is the one card I'm most likely to have multiples of in there. That was the right call. He just, he got one and that was fine. So I lost the Harvest because I knew what it was and I'm not going to use it. I lost my own Emperor already. It's not a big deal. So Tom gets, he's activating up to 19. He's going to activate one and I believe up Seventh Sister right away. Yep, to draw one. So, and then he can activate another 18. Like, I'm sure he's going to come down with something this turn. I just don't necessarily know what. And I'm just kind of hoping I can survive it. Right now the idea is survive whatever's going on. There's that Run Luke Run again still, and we're just going to leave it sitting right where it is. I don't need to do anything with it right now. So Tom activates the other 18. Doesn't drain because he doesn't have a battleground, so his own battle orders. Slowing him from those plinks, which is good for me. Like, I can't, again, this is just a keep him out of damaging me. So I can keep my guys and use my guys to get rid of his and basically end up establishing a very soft board control. Throws down another Zuckuss and Mist Hunter. That's a little unfortunate because I don't have a great way to handle Zuckuss other than the guns that are already down. And he didn't give away that he had one in hand. Throws down Janus with Emperor. That's fine. I wasn't gonna do anything to that Janus anyways, so, or at least not that turn. He'll get to Janus a card, he'll get battle order set up. Here he throws Dooku in front of Leia. Now, I'm sure he's got to expect Run Luke Run, although he hasn't seen one yet in all his digs. But, I mean, this is the deck it is. You've got to expect Run Luke Run is in there, and I split out that way to handle it. So he just searched and 1/7 at a bunch of kind of middling destinies, so I wasn't super concerned. I was trying to figure out what his plan was to do there with Dooku, as he uses Emperor Palpatine to peek at the top 3, I think to set up a good Force Lightning draw. That way he can set up a draw, or not set up a draw, you can just get rid of it. It gets the Gick into Lost Pile so he can go start abusing it, and that's another card I would have loved to have grabbed. So double check, yep, my Andor Celebration still cancels. Force Lightning. No, Tom, do battle! Do! This was good! And yeah, I mean, Tom, if you have any insight you want to throw in chat, I'd love to hear it. I mean, I think it's, you know, been pretty fair as far as my thought process on it. So yeah, Tom starts a battle. I agree. I don't think this was a great battle for him to start. I run Luke run in, which I'm sure he knew was absolutely coming. So now Tom gets the first action here. Does not take a weapons phase action, so well, I'm going to add 5 to my total power since Lukey's there. Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, if you don't deploy to space, I think the game goes very differently. You know, because I'll hold that wedge forever. So Count Dooku's going to try and Force Lightning Leia here. I'm going to straight cancel it. And Tom doesn't have a grabber free either. So we get the straight cancel. Dooku's now has no immunity and is defense value lower, but he's got the force field to stop. I'm still way up in power though. And I decide to add a Battle Destiny here with the Return of the Jedi. And try and force that Gick. Like, force him to, again, just keep losing and using cards. So he draws a 5 for Battle Destiny, which is fine. I'm certainly not going to add 1 to it. So, and I get 2 here. And 5 is fine. It just cost me Leia, and okay. Like, I'm fine losing Leia. And he uses Insignificant to pitch Sneak Attack and go get Force Lightning back, which, you know, it's another one of those interrupts I know was going to keep coming. So I'll draw my 2 Destiny here. And there's a Ray. That makes me not happy at all. I don't have a way to get it, and I'll just add 1 to it, and, well, that stinks. That means I'm definitely not creating any overflow, because with 2 good Destinies, I probably was. And there's the 6. I mean, I've got a total of 9 for Battle Destiny. I am creating 3 or 4 in overflow here, but he left the Gick in Lost Pile. So he may have a second one here. We'll find out. I'm going to lose Leia, which is fine. Luke stays there with his lightsaber. And Tom peels a couple, actually. Loses a First Strike, a Janus, and a Forlom, and then Dooku. So I'm going to use I Can't Believe He's Gone and get back Leia right away. Mostly because then I can keep a presence there that forces him to do something with it, and I don't have a better way to go get Leia. Like, Leia's got to sit there for a turn, no matter what. So Tom's now kind of spread out there too. I mean, he's got a battleground system. He's got the ability to do stuff. Moves Janus over to the docking bay and picks a couple up. So, and I just kind of watch it. So, activate 16 here. Like, I've got a good amount of force. And he's only got 1 force save, so he can't bury or anything, which is good. And actually, he's going to Janus here, so he can't even do anything. Let's look at the top card just to see what it is. Scoundrel Lando. I really would like that card, but I have no way to go get it. My hand is just not great right now, as Tom's pitching mob points to go get his 9's effect finally. But I wasn't expecting to need 4 shields against Tom. I felt like the Don't Do That Again was a solid play just to, again, slow down the machine. Punch through a drain of 2 at the Cantina. So, let's see what Tom loses here. Loses a EPP Maul, Darth Maul with lightsaber from hand, and a Gick from deck, and then I'll force through a Drain of 2 at a Radu as well. So, and again, just kind of moving my mouse around, trying to figure out what I want to do here. So Tom loses a Voyeur, which is real good for me. I'm going to deploy Leia to the Spaceport City, or not Leia, Padme, to the Spaceport City. And HCF to Rendili. I have no intention of battling at Rendili. Obviously, I'd outpower him, but not by enough, and I'd lose a guy. Throw Radis on there just as, not really fodder, but, he can use leadership and get fun things doing. But mostly this way I can move him to Holotheatre and flippy-doo. Because now actually my stuff on Tatooine is a little more frightening, and I'm going to force Tom to respond to it a little bit. And move Wedge in front of Zuckuss and play the Chase Me Around game. I don't love the Wedge move simply because it goes from a Drain of 2 to a Drain of 1, but it blocks his Drain, which I think is also important. There's a Jedi Lev. That would have been good the last time I drew Rey. And there's a Hoojix, which is good to just not have floating in my deck. So, light on cards, or light on characters still right now. Like, I've just got Corrin, who can draw on his own, but Tom's got to do something here. I didn't give him an easy out. So he activates, leaves 2, and then uses the Emperor, so then he doesn't have to peel the card or anything. It just allows him to search without giving up a reveal. So he gets to drain a little bit here, which is unfortunate. I really didn't want Tom to drain. So he'll drain for 3. There just goes my local defense combo, which I definitely would have liked, as I know Choke Vader and another Force Lightning are potentially at hand, and both of those that would shut down. I'm going to throw a leadership back to draw 1 simply because leadership's going to be a one-time shot. I've got Radis, I've got Holdo, but I don't have any generals, so I'm only using it in space, and I'm only going to use it once. So there's a Bith Shuffle combo now, because I used the 1 force with to add the power last turn when I was saving 3, and that was a Run Luke Run. So there's the Make All My Blasters 9s, an entire legion of my best troops, which I didn't really want to see, but I knew I was going to see at some point. And there's Mara and the Decimator, which is unfortunate. I did not expect him to have more space, and another Dooku in the Cantina, so I know he's drawing 2 Destiny. He's not Force Lightning, though, I don't think, or he's planning to wait on Dooku and Force Lightning, because he's got a battle at Holotheatre. Like, he can't just leave Mara sitting there. There's Wipe Them Out, all of them, so he can start activating on my turn. Really more just for him to be able to continue to shenanigan with his hand and draw. So he's battling with Mara. I'm going to add a Destiny here with the leadership. So, and I'm not going to add 3 to my power because I want to save having 3 force there in case I need it. So there's a 7 for my Destiny to power. That seems good. I'm not going to bother adding to it right now. And then Tom's going to get 1 Battle Destiny. It's a 9, so alright, I'm losing Han Chewie and Radis. Like, Radis was just there for one thing, but he's going to insignificant to go get the Gick. He drops the barrier to go get Gick because I grabbed his barrier, which is kind of how that's going to work. You know, whatever interrupt I grab, he's just going to use the other one to cycle Gicks, but I can't just grab Gick because I'm not really designed to do huge beatdowns with this deck. Like, it has the ability to, but it's not ideal. I'm going to Jedi Lev the Ray here. One, to get the one out of my deck because I'm sick of drawing it, and two, because I need characters. And then I'll add one to my Ray Destiny. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. I mean, Mara's only immune to less than 4, and I expect I'll crack that. Or I won't. But I am up a little bit in power, so I am still up 4 in power. He's got to decide, does he leave Mara and peel 4? Nope. Which makes sense, so I'll pitch Radis and Hanchu and the Falcon because I don't really have anything better to do with it. Tom does not have a reserve deck currently, so he's not going to battle with Dooku, but he does have a 7 sitting on top, so he's going to Force Lightning something right away, which is a little unfortunate. I could have done without getting zapped, but 'tis what it is. It happens. You know, he is down to 14 cards on table as he moves the sister in front of Padme. And I'm actually okay with that. Like, I mean, my goal with putting Padme there was more just to flip him back. Like, he didn't flip by moving sister, so I'm not super concerned about her being there. So I activate my 19. He wipes for 1. That's all fine and good. I'm going to communing to peak. It's an R2 and red 5. I'm not going to put it at the bottom because I want it cycling through my force, not sitting in my force pile. And here he's going to Force Lightning and fry Luke. There's really not much I can do about that. It does mean Dooku's going to die this turn, though, because it'll kill his immunity. So I am going to be battling Dooku at some point. He fries Luke. Okay. Not much I could have done about it anyways, so, you know, I'd used it once already to cancel Force Lightning. Force Lightning goes out of play, which is fine. I lose Luke and a Saber. And, alright. So I'll move into control phase. Just drain for 1 at Rendley because, yeah, I do give up the 1 by moving there, but it is what it is. So pass on doing anything else in control phase, so there's just nothing I need to do. Deploy Holdo with Padme in front of the sister, mostly because I don't think he's tracked to another 7 right there, which means anything else that he draws, Padme will cover if need be. And there I drop Rey, use Rey to go get another Master Luke, because Dooku is defense value -2 and has no immunity. So I'm going to be able to take out Dooku here. And I'll get Luke's lightsaber from Lost. And we'll grab a card with Rey. There's Chirrut, who's again a ability 4 guy. He'll also let me recycle, which is actually very good here. I did, however, do my math wrong. I'm not going to be able to move Wedge in front of Zuckuss this turn, so I'm giving up I'm giving up a drain of 2 that turn, which is unfortunate, and that was definitely a mistake. So we'll activate and pick a fight at the Cantina. He's going to use Dooku to go grab a Force Lightning or Force Push, and I think he grabs his other Lightning, but he's already used it. It's unique, so he can have the Lightning in there, and then sneak attack to put a 9 on top of his deck, which is fine. 9 means Leia and Rey. I will add 5 to my total power. And see if he's got anything else he wants to do. Shenanigan-wise, he does not. I'll activate 1 with I Can't Believe He's Gone. Swing Luke's Saber at Dooku. And Dooku is defense value 5 from doing the Force Lightning earlier. He's got another Force Field, which, is what it is. He had it at some point. Probably wasted a card here because I did the Return of a Jedi to add a Battle Destiny when I know he can just go get a Gick. But I wanted to force the Gick out of him. I know he's going to draw 9, so he's going to be at 14. I want to make him go get the Gick. And keep burning those cards from his hand. So draw my 2 Battle Destiny here. They're each +1, and then their totals +1 with Rey. So that's a 6, and I think there's another good Destiny here as well. Oh, no, a 6 and a 1. So a 6 and 2. 9 or 8 puts me at 9 for total Battle Destiny with Rey, which is good. I mean, it's Dooku. Even after he draws the 9, it's Dooku and 4, or it's Dooku and he's got to pitch another interrupt to go get the Gick, which is fine. He loses the Force Lightning because I think he figured out he was out of them. I'm probably not attacking the Emperor. So he ditches the Force Lightning to go get the Gick so he can play the Gick. And again, a lot of this is just grinding him out of cards, because I can't stop him from doing this stuff over and over. I just need to slow it down. I lose Rey and Leia to his 9, leaving Luke alone in the Cantina. And then we're going to start a battle at Spaceport City. We'll pick a fight against the sister. And I will use Chirrut to peek at the top card of my reserve deck. That's a 4. We're just going to leave that. Nope, we'll move that to my force pile because I can recirculate with Chirrut once per game if need be. And that way I know where that card is. We'll use that force to add 3 to my total power. Sister does have some immunity, so I didn't want to use I Can't Believe He's Gone. I wanted to be able to add to my draw if necessary, but I decided activating a force was more important. And I am up a bunch of power, so we'll just draw our 1 Destiny here. And it's my 4, which is enough to kill the sister, and that's all I was really trying to do there. And Tom draws a 5, which is fine because that's Holdo, and Holdo covers. And I am totally okay with that. He does Insignificant Rebellion to swap a card again, and dropping 9th Sister to go get another 7th Sister so he can play another one, which is, again, you run out of characters as you're doing that. Yeah, you can, keep going for a while, but only for a while. And here, again, I can't move Wedge in front of Zuckuss. I don't have the force to do it. So I'll use Chirrut to recirculate, 3PO to put down that R2 and go grab the Rebel Leadership. This card from hand on force pile. Throw the Rebel Leadership down there, so I can keep things kind of going. I think the Chariot was the right play. I think in retrospect I wouldn't have minded leaving that to just be Padme and Holdo. So I could have moved Wedge in front of Zuckuss and saved myself this drain of 1 and made it next turn a drain of 2 instead of 1. But, like, unfortunately, not being able to do that hurt. As Tom gets a couple drains through, drains at each of the Raltier sites, and the Radu system, and I'm just surviving right now. Throws down Choke Vader in front of Luke, and that's unfortunate because I don't have my... I lost my local defense already, and I don't really have an answer for Choke Lord Vader beyond that. So we'll peek with Communion. Yep, it's still that Rebel leadership. So just kind of mentally going, well, I'm probably losing Luke here, because he only leaves 1 card saved, which means it's a 7 he stacked with Janice, and there's nothing I can do about that right now. Throws the 7th Sister at Mos Eisley just to bump up drains. I think he's rightly figured out that we're racing to an extent right now, and he's got to do something about it. And Master Luke is getting choked by his mean dad. And hey, look, it's a 7. I don't know how Tom knows how to draw those. I'll choose not to add 1 to it with I can't believe he's gone. And Luke dies, which means all of my Lukes are now dead as I lost the Rebellion's Hope Luke. But that's fine. I wasn't, you know, he did his job to the extent of he did pull through both Dooku's and grind another thing there. Palpatine gets moved to the Spaceport Street. Janice moves over with him to add to the drains. And Tom, I believe, just draws, yeah, and says go. Now, I've got to decide what I want to do with Corrin here. Probably not going to throw him down in front of Palpatine and Janice. You know, although that wouldn't be a terrible play, but that's only a drain of 1. Use Communing. I see I've got a Yoda sitting on top of my force pile. That's cute, but not something I can really do anything with. Tom, 7th Sisters, and grabs. I'm going to look for an immediate effect in there, so 773. So, that Leia's transport would be really good if I could get that in any way, shape, or form. So, we'll drain for 1 with Padme and Chariot. And Tom loses Boba Fett off reserve. Drain for 1 at Raltier, or Rendalee, which is good, as Tom loses a force field, which is immaterial at this point. We'll throw Corrin at Mos Eisley. I know I can kill the sister, because I'm either drawing a 7 or a 3 I can turn into a 4, and that'll get rid of that drain of 2. And I'm willing to trade Corrin for the sister at this point. I will add 3 to my power. That's all I'm doing here. So let's see what we draw. We'll draw our 1. And there's that 7. So now I know I've got a 7 and a 3 are the 2 cards in reserve. And might as well add 1 to it. Why not? If he plays close call, like if he saved close call up to this point, just to cancel it, good for him. So I know I've got a 7 and a 3 in there, and I'd really like the 3 because I think Tom's almost out of space, and Leia's transport could be real big. And Tom draws a 9. Okay, so we tie in power, and I kill the sister, and he kills Corrin. I was actually perfectly content with that chain of events. No one likes me better than Dan as a host. You guys missed the part because I couldn't figure out the volume because I'm really just the idiot sidekick. And I say funny things sometimes, and Dan keeps all this stuff moving and well done. But, you know, they gave Andy Richter his own show when all he did was be Conan's idiot sidekick for a while. So they gave me a day since you went to go do adult things, and I moved Padme over. I move Wedge over in front of Zuckuss. Now I'm going to pick a few up because what I really want is to find cards I want to 3PO. I'm not 3POing the Hoojix because I really don't want a 1 in there. That's a good one because I can just shut down his thing. Well, Rey's really good. Well, I'm not 3POing her back either. I got to save some force though. Like, what's my play here? What do I want to do? Just sitting and trying to think. Like, I've got a bunch of time left. The game's certainly not going to go to time. There's Tom with that voyeur, which I'm not a fan of, as he called leadership, and I believe missed. So, yep. Well, I'm going to draw one. Hey, look, there's a card I can definitely 3PO down because I certainly don't need the all wings combo. I'm not drawing Battle Destiny in space. And there's another 7. Well, that tells me that 3 is the top card. So let's pick up. There's Hera, who's, you know, cute and might be decent against whatever he's going to do here. And We're Doomed combo is nice. So after he activates 1, we're going to 3PO and go get Leia's transport because I need another ship. Like, if I could get a second ship going, this gets real good for me right now. But Tom's going to drain me for 4 here. 2 in the cantina and 2 at the spaceport street, which I don't love. And we'll peek. That's the Bith Shuffle combo. We're going to throw that actually at the bottom because I do have the Rey in hand. And I can go get it, but I don't love that because it is already grabbed. So, like, I'd really rather not. And there goes the all wings combo. I just dropped down with 3PO, but that's fine. I got to lose force anyways. And drain of 2 in the cantina as well. There's a couple more cards off the top. Run Luke Run, and there's an R2 and red 5. So, but Tom's also starting to run lower on force here. I've been forcing all his cards out. There's P59 in front of Garrett, which, alright, he's going to shoot Garrett. I'm going to suspend his 9s for a turn, though. I mean, a 7 still hits Garrett, even if I subtract 2 with Obi's Hut. But 7 is still lower than 9, and if he's got 2 running there, that means he's only drawn a 7 for Battle Destiny instead of a 9, and I'm okay with that. So he's going to battle. I'm going to peek with Garrett and see that it's a voyeur. I don't love this. I left it on top thinking I could, that'd be, thinking I was being fancy. He's just going to Janus it now. I could have put it on the force pile and kept it out of his hand, but that's fine. That was a little bit of a mistake, but it was what it was. So he Januses. I'm going to add 3 to my total power, just in case he does something funky. I know P59 is immune to less than 4, so I need to draw at least a 3, so I'm not activating 1. There's his 7 to shoot. I'm going to subtract 2 just because. I mean, Batmouse has topped forward the last 2 majors. Like, if I could play at Batmouse levels right now, I'd be pretty content with that. So I'm going to lose 2 here to P59, and I'm not real happy about it. But there goes the farm, which is good because I did want to get rid of that. And Hera from hand simply because I don't think Hera's going to come into play here. Like, there's not a spot where I'm envisioning Hera being super important right now. Tom's running low on characters. Hera's only situationally good. And she is what she is. So he draws another 7. So like I said, I knew there were 2 7s floating there. So he gets the P59 hit and draws a 7 for Battle Destiny. He's going to swap a card back with Rebellion. And he swaps Gick out because he's correct. I'm certainly not overflowing him here. And I draw Battle Destiny, and he actually just swapped Gick for Gick, I believe. Didn't have a great play either, so I will also draw a 7 because 2 of us can play that game, and I will add 1 to it to make it an 8, and on you, Tom. So, doesn't really matter. It's it wipes the site, and that's all I can do. I don't have Baze to go fetch him because I can't play him in this deck. Baze has a gun. I can't play guys with guns, so we don't play Baze. Still holding 3 force there, so Tom can't battle, and he's got no reserve, so he can't battle me. He moves Janice in front of Padme, which is cute, and is, I think, the right play. And I believe he's going to move Zuckuss away as well, because he can't sit in front of the cannons. If I'm adding 3, I'm shooting you down. So, but there's another Voyeur because, yep, that's a really annoying card. And he calls Endor Celebration, which he knows there's 1 of, and he knows he's going to get. He does play it use, so I'm just peeling 1 instead of losing the Celebration, which is fine. At this point, I don't think Hujix is going to come into play. I don't think his deck isn't really designed to do a ton of overflow, and the way this game has gone, he doesn't have the ability, I don't think, to overflow me anywhere. And he moves Zuckuss away. See, if I had moved that Voyeur with Chirrut, he wouldn't have gone and gotten it and wouldn't have been able to cost me 1 force there, but 'tis what it is. So he moves Zuckuss away and gives up a drain of 2 to Wedge, which I'm a fan of here. So, and draws his last card, leaves himself with no force, but he does have wiped them out, all of them, so there's only so much I can do here. As he plays another Voyeur and calls Endor Celebration again and costs me 1 more force, which really is quite rude of him. I would definitely have appreciated him not doing that. I'm going to lose 1 off the top, which is a Princess Leia, who wouldn't have been terrible, but wasn't much I could do with her right now. So I'm going to activate all but 1. Basically, I know I've got a 7 sitting on the bottom. This way I can play that 7, or I can battle against Janice, draw that 7 and kill Janice, which will slow down his tracking and cheatering of Destinies. Drain for a couple of Erradu. So he loses Mara in the Decimator from reserve as well, so he's definitely low on ships now. He's probably got probably 1 ship floating still. He might have a Boba Fett, might have a Fett and Slave 1 floating around still, but that'd be about it. His ships are pretty well, I've killed 1 Zuckuss and Mist Hunter, 1's on table. There's the Endor Celebration. I'm going to dump that to the bottom since I have a Ray in hand. No, I'm just going to leave it there so I can go get it when I deploy Ray. That was... I left the Bith Shuffle sitting at the bottom going, oh, I can go get that with Ray. That was a mistake. I should have just gone the... should have gone the other route with it. Drop Leia's Rebel Transport at Rendley. I'm not going to bother going to get someone. I know there's a 7 sitting there. And I'm going to drop Ray with Padme in front of Janice. Go get a card with Ray. We'll get the Endor Celebration so I can shut down the entire Legion. And that's actually, I think, why I left it up there, because then I could leave 3 Force. So I could end up being able to move Wedge and still be able to fire. And I'm sitting and thinking about it and decide, nope, I'm just going to draw that card with Ray, even though I know what it is and I know it's stacked, because I don't like not having cards in hand. I don't think that was a great play there, but it is what it is. I don't activate anything because I have 1 Force left, and that's fine. I will draw my 7 for Battle Destiny, and I will use it as a 7. I will it's my show today, Dan, and I'm going to call it cheatering. It might just be because I'm salty, and it might just be because Tom cycles a lot of good cards down and was using them to beat me, but I'm allowed to be salty, and, you know, when you're the host, you can call the things what you want to call them. So Janice draws his 7, not a 9, because I suspended his thing, which I need to do, and drops Dark Time for the Rebellion, Tarkin's Orders, to go fetch Voyeur, which is unfortunate, but there's not much I can do. He's going to be cycling those Voyeurs. I'm going to lose Padme, he's going to lose Janice, and then Gick the damn... Oh, he's not. He's going to lose a couple instead to keep the Gick alive, which might have been because he felt the need to cancel a react. I'm not sure what I was going to be reacting with, but I'm going to leave Ray sitting there. He can't move Emperor in front of me. And there's the Voyeur. That's the annoyance. And he calls Endor Celebration, so he's going to cost me a card. As I said, when watching this in replay and I thought through it, you know, I think grabbing Voyeur might have been a better grab, but I really needed to not let that barrier go through. And, you know, he did have a second barrier in deck as well. So I'm going to move Leia's transport to Rendili, or to Holotheatre. Basically, I'm going to force him to do something. Like, this is, you know, he's draining me for 4, and if he doesn't do anything, I'm draining him for 5, and we're real close on cards. Like, this isn't a great spot for him to be in necessarily. So, in fact, I think we're almost identical in cards at this point. So, I'm just gonna, I have to peel. I have no cards in hand. I'm peeling to the drain. And Tom's got to do something here. And he passes on deploy, as do I. I'm not deploying anything here. I think he's trying to get those Voyeurs back. So he pays 1 to move Zuckuss and to block the Holotheatre drain, which is good, but it does turn off his battle order. So now he can't draw. If he draws too much, he can't drain. But he's going to draw a bunch here and get his Voyeurs going and get his deck set up, which makes sense. You know, the Voyeurs are what's causing me force loss right now. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here. I'm just going to activate a couple, because there's no point in putting cards in my use pile right now. And force drain for 1. And Tom loses a Forlom with gun, force drain for 2 at Aradu. Tom loses a couple more cards here. I'm going to peek with communing. See what that is. It's a perimeter scan, which I like, but I don't really need. I'm going to grab it with Ray just for giggles, though. And, you know, didn't really, like, I don't think Tom had seen it or was going to call it at any point, so use it to go grab a card. I end up grabbing Yodo, who's a non-factor now. I just don't have enough force to do anything with him. And I'm going to move the transport back to Rendley. I mean, I probably could, like, I'm not even going to be able to deploy Yoda. So he's a complete non-factor. Tom activates his 1. He's going to have to pay 3 to drain for 2. And he accidentally drains at Holotheatre. And then immediately says, wrong one. And I do allow the revert because I don't want to win like that. Like, I know right there, if I don't allow that revert, the math says he can't win. You know, that drain of 2 was, that 2 force was going to be that impactful. But I'm not going to win that way. That's not the way I play. That's not the way I think most people would play. You know, and something like that where it's clearly just a misclick. I'm not playing the game that way. So Tom drains. I lose Force Master Yoda and a card. He's got 1 force left. He's going to use that to move Zuckuss to a Battleground system. I'm sure he's going to move him to Rendley because he's gotta. Nope, moves him to a Radu, which is smart because it blocks a drain of 2 instead of a drain of 1, and with only 4 cards left, I can't pay 3 to shoot him down, so he can probably take me out here. So here I make a mistake. I activate 1, thinking I'll start a battle, I'll shoot at 0. Well, first I'm going to drain, obviously. So we activated. I thought my deck was all 4s and 5s at this point. Peaked with communing. It's a 5, but doesn't matter. It's just going to sit there. Certainly not going to array it. Activate, drain for 1. And Tom loses off the top of his reserve. Drain for 1. Tom's now got to lose from handy as he lost a voyeur from reserve because he needs to keep 3 force in case he needs to do something here. So I'm going to pay, my thought process here is I'm going to pay 1 to start a battle at a Radu. I'm going to activate 1 with I can't believe he's gone. And then I'm going to shoot as he loses a Vader from reserve. So he's down to 2 cards in reserve. And I think just talking this through, my whole thought process was dumb because so he sneak attacks to get a 4 down, but more importantly to get a 9 on top. Because I'm going to shoot, I'm not going to blow him up because I'm not adding anything. But I thought I had just 5s and a 4 in here. So I wouldn't need to add anything, and then I'd just activate 1 with I can't believe he's gone. Instead I draw a 3, so I have to I can't believe he's gone to add 1 to it. Because I need to hit Zuckuss. That's my out here, is I hit Zuckuss. But it means I can't move Leia's transport over to Radu to drain for 2 instead of 1. And Tom's got 4 cards down plus 1 in hand. So not going to do anything else here. I'll draw a Battle Destiny. And there's a 4. Like I said, I thought I had 4s and 5s, so 'tis what it is. You know, my total Battle Destiny is 0. There's almost no point in drawing it. Didn't really matter. He draws a 9. That's fine. I'm going to lose the ship and Wedge. And he's going to lose Zuckuss. And Wedge and the ship will cover all the forfeit, because they forfeit for like 11 combined. So I'll lose Wedge, he loses Zuckuss. And now I'll lose Red Squadron 1. And at this point I'd figured out the math went the wrong way on that, because he can pay 3 to drain me for 2. And then I can drain him for 2, and he had 1 card left in hand. And if I had moved the Resistance Transport over, I could drain him for 3, and then he wouldn't have been able to pay for drains. And there's the Voyeur to get a card anyways, but 'tis what it is. I made him go all the way through with it, and 'twas fun. It was a very fun game. I still don't think I played it. You know, I made a couple mistakes, but I think the plan and the thought process was right. It was go at him, slow him down, and make him work. I wish I would have grabbed Voyeur. Yeah, Tom basically voyeured me to death. Like, a second barrier would have, or a second grabber would have been huge. Grabbing Voyeur would have been very, very big here, because as you see, Tom's got 5 cards left. He drains me down to 1. And all I can do is, next turn, I'll drain him for 2. And he can pay 3 to drain me for 1. If I'd have had 3 instead, if I could have drained him to 3, or if I could have drained him of 3, I end up winning the game by 1, because he can't do anything with that, and I certainly wouldn't have used the force to give him even a shot to Voyeur it. So, not going to activate. No point in putting a card in used. At this point, I should have done it last turn. Drain for 1 and 1, just to keep things interesting. But yeah, Tom won this game. Went on to beat, I think it was Kieran in the game 4, and then to win the game. So hopefully you all got to enjoy what was a pretty interesting and strategic and fun game. I mean, it really was a super fun game to be a part of. When I played it, there was definitely some, you know, it's a different line to take, try something different, and really push the damage early. Yeah, Timo. That was, I couldn't remember who he played. I only commentated the game. I don't remember things like names. So, but it was definitely a fun, very fun game, very fun tournament. Thanks to the PC for running it. I was very glad I participated in it. I hope you all enjoyed getting to watch this once I got the sound stuff figured out. This was, you know, it was definitely a lot of fun. It's a very fun game, fun event. Keep an eye on the forums. Lots of stuff going on. I know, you know, lots of leagues are going on now with the league. So lots of events going on. Lots of stuff going on. The new OCS month just started up, so I'm sure Tom's already got all 12 games in, as he was, you know, twitchy with nothing going on in April. So he you know, probably got all 12 games in and is now just sort of waiting for them to go. But it's, you know, lots of stuff going on right now with the PC. The OCS World's coming up in a couple months. The Retro event is going on right now. As always, keep an eye on the Facebook page, on the Instagram page, on Slack, on the forums. So many ways to get info about Star Wars, figure out what's going on, see what's going on, and be able to play Star Wars. So I'm going to sign off for the night. Thank you all for watching. I hope you had fun. Hope you know, learned something, or at least were polite enough not to call me an idiot in chat. So thank you very much, and y'all have a great night.